would somebody choose to live in North Bend over Coos Bay?
Well, I would say first it's because they found a house and was able to secure it. Secondly,
Because it's so hard to find a place anywhere?
Because it's so hard to find a home. I looked in Coos Bay originally. That's probably where I would have gone if I had a choice. I ended up in North Bend, but I'm perfectly happy with my neighborhood. But we are one huge community.
this part and this part are a century old. The rest of it we rebuilt and matched in. So. Hi, I'm Ethan Tobin. My wife Karen and I run the Liberty Pub in North Bend, Oregon. We bought the pub in September of 2012, and when we did, we tried to do our due diligence. We went to the Historical Society, went to the museums and the library. And we knew we were buying a historical building, but we didn't know any of the real details. So what we've learned is that we are the latest chapter in a very long history book. So going back to 1900-ish, where now North Bend Power Sports is, was the Coos Bay Brewing Company. And that was the only commercial brewery in the area, supplying all the saloons and taverns and all the rest that were feeding all the fishermen and loggers and all that kind of stuff. And the guy was making a mint, being the only commercial brewery in town, and he realized, why should I wholesale when I could retail? So he built this building. His name was Charlie Tom, T-H-O-M, and this was the Tom Building. This is, as far as we can tell, the oldest operating bar in the area by a lot. So, with the exception of Prohibition, of course. As he built this building, set up his own bar, the town tavern for the longest time. We've lost a lot of the dates. There wasn't a lot of good record keeping. I know there was a fire at one point in the late 50s. The bar actually used to be on that side. And now we're in our 9th year as the Liberty Pub. We try to throw the best dinner party in Coos County every single night. There's long-going urban myths about tunnels under downtown North Bend. What it is as you're out front, if you look at the sidewalks in front of all the buildings here and on Virginia, you'll see some of them are relatively brand new concrete and some of them are really old aggregate concrete. Those really old ones were not replaced because there's a room underneath them. Like for instance, Wegford Printing next door is another one of the historic buildings here, and there's a telephone pole out there that goes through the sidewalk and down into their basement. There are rumors that people would sneak around through, those were the tunnels. They were just rooms that had sometimes doors or just holes knocked in them. The building on the corner used to be Louis Simpson's Clubhouse. It's still, the first 3 stories are still there. The top 2 were his gentleman's club, and we're not talking like dancing girls, we're talking like leather wingback chairs and things like that. The sidewalk in front of that brick bank building still has these dark purple squares, the glass tiles in them, because a century ago they weren't so occluded and it would let light down into those basement rooms, like functioning as a skylight. I used to hear rumors that people would tell me that people would hang out at the Humboldt Club and then sneak in a tunnel across 101. Wrong for a couple of reasons. One, the Humboldt Club didn't show up till after Prohibition. 2, the year we bought this building, ODOT or whoever redid the main sewer lines. They dug a trench 60 feet deep. And if there was a tunnel there, they would have found it. Again, there's always a kernel of truth that gets blown into all sorts of fun stories. I have heard of tunnels that went down to the waterfront as far as the old Shanghai and people. I have no idea if it's true or not. If it's, they probably have collapsed by this point anyways, or have been sealed off in some way. Well, Louis Simpson is considered the founder of North Bend. It's called North Bend in a very creative process because his family was from North Bend, Washington. It was the north bend of a river or a bay or something like that. And so he saw our bay had a north bend to it. And again, in a fit of creativity, he named us North Bend too. But yeah, there's a statue of him right there in the Simpson Circle. His family was huge in lumber and just expansion. It was that go west young man type of thing. And he's again the founder of our town, and there's still Simpsons here in our town now. That I know they have July Jubilee every July celebrating the birthday of North Bend. And one of his descendants comes to cut the cake. I hear stories where he's just the Superman, all-American, let's build a new town on the western frontier. And then there's, like any other political figure, there's people who didn't like him and, like to say slanderous things. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. I like the town he built. My wife and I moved up here from the San Francisco Bay Area. We quickly made a lot of really close friends. There's a lot of, nothing's perfect. This isn't heaven, but this is a great place. That vibe, that energy of the Coos Bay North Bend community, this feels like home. It's felt like home before we even moved here. So we spent 6 months converting this into the Liberty Pub, and we opened our doors March 13th, March 13th, 2013, and it's been, you know, what a long strange trip it's been, right? We've loved it.
This is the bay. Right now, as you can see, the tide is out. So it gives you a great little view of the sand that's underneath the ocean. You get a lot of creatures out here, such as birds, taking advantage of low tide.
I bet we could probably find some oysters out there.
Having a little bite to eat.
Because, you know, they serve everywhere.
You think they
Yeah.
serve oysters here?
I bet they get the oysters from there, and we eat them in here.
Why don't we go check them out?
Let's go.
Okay.
See you later.
Bye. Thanks for coming.